This man is the heir to a multi-million-dollar food company. Since a young age, he was taught by his mom to be a cold and ruthless businessman. One day, he visits a small countryside restaurant run by a quiet but skilled female chef. After tasting her food, he decides to steal her recipe and use it for his own gain. But the more time he spends there, he starts to fall for her. Just when everything seems to be going well, she finds out the truth and tells him to leave for good. Will his betrayal cost him the only woman who ever warmed his cold heart? Han Byung-woo is a sharp, cold man who works as a director at Han Sang Group, a massive food empire known for its luxury restaurants. He's brilliant at business but has no mercy. One day, a man stands outside the company gates, shouting and protesting against Byung-woo. But Byung-woo doesn't care. Later, when a junior staff fails to buy over an abalone restaurant, Byung-woo decides to handle it himself. He visits the place and coldly threatens to expose the man's illegal gambling past if he doesn't sell the restaurant to him. After that, Byung-woo drops by one of his high-end restaurants, Motto, to check their new menu. For him, food is business. He doesn't care about the taste, only how it looks and how much it can sell. At the same time, the head chef, Jang Young-hae, is doing an interview to promote the restaurant. Suddenly, Byung-woo walks in and scolds her. "Forget the media," he says. "Your job is to perfect the truffle niobiani." When she says she's still thinking how to make it special, Byung-woo replies coldly, "Just follow the recipe I gave you. That's all you need to get 3 stars. Later, Byung-woo returns home. There, we meet his biggest rival, his own brother, Han Sun-woo. Their mother is the chairwoman of Han Sang. That night, over dinner, she makes a shocking announcement: whichever of you gets 3 stars for your restaurant will take over the company. The war between brothers has begun. Byung-woo rushes to try the truffle niobiani dish himself. He's ready to launch it, until his assistant runs in with bad news. There's a restaurant in the countryside serving the same dish. That's a huge problem. Motto prides itself on unique, original food. Byung-woo decides to go to the countryside himself. After hours of searching, he finally stumbles upon a tiny, hidden restaurant in a quiet alley. It looks nothing like his world. In the garden, a woman is picking vegetables. Byung-woo steps on her cabbages by mistake, and she swings a knife at him in shock. He falls to the ground. He introduces himself and asks about the niobiani dish. But the woman, Yeonju, barely looks at him. She's not impressed by him and not interested in anything he has to say. After asking repeatedly to try her niobiani, Yeonju tells him that she is unable to make it because she does not have the ingredients. She explains that her dish needs a special kind of beef, rump from a cow raised on Maewon Farm. Byung-woo hurries to the market to buy it himself. But when he asks the butcher for beef from Maewon Farm, the man laughs in his face as it is not readily available. Byung-woo then decides to buy an entire shelf of beef rump. He returns to Yeonju's restaurant, but the moment she sniffs the beef, she knows. "These are fake," she says, pointing at the fake Maewon Farm labels. Byung-woo pleads with her to make it. Moved by his persistence, Yeonju finally finds one real packet of beef from Maewon Farm. She agrees to cook and takes him to the mountains to get pine mushroom. Byung-woo, still in his designer suit, stumbles up the trail behind her. "Why go through all this trouble for mushroom?" he mutters. Back at the restaurant, he waits as she prepares the dish. He takes a bite of her cabbage kimchi, and he is amazed. The taste, it reminds him of his grandmother. When the dish is finally served, he takes a bite and gobbles up the entire dish. The flavor is unforgettable. He wants to acquire the restaurant. But Yeonju looks him straight in the eye. "You don't understand food. People like you only care about money." He scoffs. "Without money, your restaurant will die." The next day, Yeonju's landlord visits and tells her to pay her overdue rent within the month, otherwise she have to leave. Meanwhile, on his way back to Seoul, Byung-woo gets news. The restaurant owner he threatened tried to take his own life. The story is all over the news. Han Sang's reputation takes a massive hit. The board holds an emergency meeting and decides to dismiss Byung-woo from his role. Unaware of what's happened, Byung-woo visits the hospital to apologize. But there, he overhears something shocking. The victim is talking to his brother, Sun-woo. Byung-woo realizes it was all a trap. His brother set him up. He rushes to tell his mother. But she shows no sympathy. "Winning is all that matters," she says coldly. Sun-woo will now manage Motto. "You'll have to find another way to prove yourself." With nowhere else to turn, Byung-woo returns to Yeonju. He tries one more time to buy her restaurant. But she rips the contract in half. She tells him that she will consider his investment if he works there for a month. Left with no choice, he agrees. But on the way back, he tells his assistant, "I'll just steal her recipes." Later, Yeonju meets a man in what looks like a shady exchange and gets caught by Byung-woo. but it turns out she's only trading homegrown chili powder with the village grocer. When she realizes she doesn't have enough money to pay for the chili powder, she is left with none and breaks down in tears. BM buys her a cheaper option which is not locally produced. But she refuses to compromise on the ingredients. He then suggests she hire help to serve more customers. He hands her a list of top-tier candidates, but Yeonju tells him that they are not a right fit. Instead, she hires Myung-suk, a local woman with 15 years of experience, someone who understands the warmth behind every dish. BM gets into another argument with Yeonju, frustrated by her stubborn ways. But she reminds him to just focus on what he promised, redoing the restaurant's interior. That night, BM heads to a hotel to rest, only to be hit with bad news. The company has frozen all his cards and taken back his car. Stranded and humiliated, he ends up at a rundown motel, where he trades his expensive jacket for a few nights' stay. The next morning, he sells his luxury watch and uses the money to buy 2 new tables for the restaurant. When he shows up wearing an old football jersey, Yeonju and Myung-suk are both shocked. Trying to prove his worth, BM suggests influencer marketing and starts calling his old contacts, but everyone ignores him. As the day goes on, tension builds. BM and Myung-suk constantly clash over how things should be done. When an influencer finally offers a shout-out for the restaurant, they lose the chance due to another fight between BM and Yeonju, this time over how to plate the food. To make matters worse, Myung-suk accidentally spills kimchi on the brand new tables. That's the last straw for BM. He explodes in anger and storms out. Sitting alone in the market, drenched from the rain and defeated, he runs into the local grocer and butcher. Sensing his misery, they take him out for drinks. As he vents about his failures, the grocer quietly hands him a bag of homemade chili powder to cheer him up. Later that night, BM returns to the restaurant and finds everything spotless. The table is clean, and there are new, elegant plates ready for service. Yeonju hands him a fresh t-shirt and tells him that Myung-suk may have a different style, but she truly cares about the restaurant. Feeling regretful, BM gives the chili powder hoping to make up with them. Just then, the grocer and butcher enter, along with their entire soccer team. The restaurant fills up with customers, buzzing with energy. It becomes their first real successful night since the revamp. To celebrate, they all head out for a late meal. But before they can leave, a car blocks their path. A young man, Chun Sung, steps out and confronts BM, accusing him of stealing his employee. Turns out Myung-suk used to work at his family's gukbap restaurant, but left after feeling unappreciated. Her talent was so vital that Chun Sung's father sent him to bring her back. After failing to convince her, Chun Sung gets chewed out by his father. Back at the bar, Yeonju reassures Myung-suk, telling her that she's not just a worker anymore, she's a chef now, and it's something to be proud of. But the happy mood doesn't last long. BM sees an article announcing that Young Hae is now working for La Lessel, the restaurant run by his brother, Han Sun-woo. Angry and betrayed, BM calls Young Hae and yells at her. Yeonju overhears part of the call and mistakenly thinks he's fighting with a girlfriend. But then, she catches him saying something about stealing recipes, which confuses her. Before she can ask more, Chun Sung shows up again, this time grabbing Yeonju in frustration. BM jumps in to stop him, but before he can even land a punch, Yeonju flips Chun Sung to the ground with ease. Then, she looks at BM and asks, "Why did you really come to Young Jae?" Luckily for him, she didn't hear everything. She assumes he's just a man nursing a broken heart, one who lost his girlfriend to his own brother. And for now, he lets her believe that. The next morning, BM gets a message from his assistant, Eugene. He urges him to get the recipe for Yeonju's dish. They need it to prepare for a new restaurant launch and make their big comeback. He tries to ask Yeonju for it, but she doesn't budge. Just then, the landlady appears, with strangers in tow. She's already showing the space to new tenants. There's a rumor, she says, that Yeonju's business is shutting down. BM and Yeonju both suspect Chun Sung. But before they can confront him, more bad news arrives. Officials show up with complaints, fire regulation violations, missing health certificates. And worst of all, Yeonju is fined because of the Chinese chili powder found in her kitchen, as she claims her restaurant only uses Korean produce, the same one BM had bought earlier. Yeonju heads out to settle the fine and tells them to stay put at the restaurant. Angry and frustrated, BM and Myung-suk decide to get back at Chun Sung by reporting the illegal extension of his garage. But Chun Sung retaliates, parking his car across the narrow road, blocking the entrance to Yeonju's restaurant. When Yeonju returns, she's furious as he only made things worse. That night, BM gets a call from Myung-suk. She tells him Yeonju's taking the next morning off, she's heading to get a certain fermented paste that never arrived. They suspect Chun Sung again. Byung-woo joins her the next morning, and they reach the supplier's house. But the man is sick in bed. He couldn't make the delivery, not because of Chun-sung. Yeonju decides to make the paste herself and ropes Byung-woo into helping. As they work, she teaches him about every ingredient, but Byung-woo clearly doesn't care much. On the way home, Yeonju gently pulls Byung-woo closer to her to avoid the rain getting on him, but a phone call ruins the moment. The restaurant is on fire. They rush back. Yeonju breaks down at the sight of her beloved kitchen in ruins. All signs point to Chun-sung. She storms off to confront him. But Chun-sung looks stunned. He admits to breaking the window while drunk, but swears he didn't set the fire. When Byung-woo tries to drag him to the police, he panics and tries to pay them off. Yeonju, however, gives him a chance to fix the kitchen in 3 days. Meanwhile, at La Lessel, Young-hae presents her version of truffle neo-biryani to Chairman Han. But the moment she leaves the room, she spits it out in disgust. This trash cannot be your signature dish, she tells Sunwoo, unaware that Young-hae is secretly listening from behind. Chairman Han then warns Sunwoo that Byung-woo may supersede him anytime. Afraid, Sunwoo begins digging into what his brother has been doing. Back at Youngjae, Chun-sung attempts repairs. But he fails. Frustrated, he sits at the corner and grumbles. Myung-suk lashes out, calling him useless. That's when Chun-sung suddenly breaks down in tears. I don't want to be a failure, he cries. I want to be more than just the guy running my dad's shop. Byung-woo picks up the tools. Together, they start fixing the kitchen. Yeonju prepares a warm, simple meal for everyone to keep their spirits up. Byung-woo hesitates at first, but after one bite, he in disbelief. It's unbelievably good. Later, the team hears about a food truck competition. The winner gets 5 million won, just enough to cover their repair costs. But there's a catch, they have only 15 minutes to register before the deadline. Chun-sung doesn't waste a second. With his expert motorbike riding, he rushes Byung-woo to the registration center. Just in time, Byung-woo slips the form into the stack. That night, as Chun-sung lights a cigarette, his lighter won't spark. That's when it hits him, maybe he didn't set the fire after all, and a flashback confirms that the culprit is someone else. Just then Young-hae shows up at the motel Byung-woo is living at, and she questions if he is here to steal another restaurant's recipe. When Yeonju walks out, Byung-woo panics. To stop Young-hae from exposing him, he suddenly blurts out that she's his ex-girlfriend and starts yelling at her, putting on a show of anger. Byung-woo quickly pulls Young-hae aside to warn her from running her mouth. He also adds that Yeonju is a much better chef than she is. The next morning, Byung-woo is surprised to see Yeonju in the room next to his at the motel. With her place still in ruins, she had no choice but to stay there too. Together, they head out to prepare for the food truck competition. While Byung-woo pitches high-end meat dishes to stand out, Yeonju calmly suggests something simple, gimbap. On the day of the festival, Chun-sung and Myung-suk arrive with a beat-up old truck, the only one they could afford to rent. Spirits are high, but Byung-woo's mood crashes when he sees Hansang's logo plastered everywhere. The sponsor of the event? His mom's company. And standing there with a smirk is Sunwoo. Sunwoo raises the prize money to 10 million won on the spot. But that's not all, La Lessel will also be competing. As the festival begins, every stall is buzzing, with one exception. Youngjae's truck sits empty. Desperate, Byung-woo runs off and returns with premium ingredients, Maewon beef. He tells the team they need to step it up to draw a crowd. Though hesitant, Yeonju agrees. She uses the beef to make a new version of her dish, beef-wrapped gimbap. The response is immediate. People start lining up. Word spreads, and soon they're overwhelmed with orders. When they sell out completely, the team huddles together in celebration, laughing and hugging. It's a small but sweet victory, however the real test comes tomorrow. That night, Sunwoo scoffs at Young-hae's performance and tells her that he have arranged for a special guest to help her guarantee victory. Elsewhere, Yeonju finds a lighter in the kitchen and scolds Byung-woo for smoking indoors. But Byung-woo is confused as the lighter isn't his. Something about it doesn't sit right. The second day of the food festival begins, now with a flashy celebrity twist. Hansang has invited a popular singer, setting up a massive meet-and-greet stage right next to La Lessel's truck. As expected, Youngjae's crowd disappears. Feeling defeated, the Youngjae team sits in silence. That's when Chun-sung pulls out a bottle. It's a drink he made from his own recipe. Even though it tastes good, it is not enough to pull the crowds in. Suddenly, a customer shows up and asks for something simple. Do you have classic gimbap? Everyone else is trying too hard. Yeonju's eyes light up. She heads to the kitchen and prepares it immediately. A food influencer catches wind and takes a bite. This is the real deal, he exclaims. The crowd returns, this time, not for fancy ingredients or flashy stars, but for the taste of something real. The competition finally ends, and in the end, La Lessel wins and takes home the prize money. Yeonju's team is disappointed. Her gimbap clearly tasted better, and their team suspects the results were rigged. Still, Yeonju tells them to accept the outcome. At least, they made enough money to fix the broken kitchen. Later, Billionaire pulls Sunwoo aside. He accuses him of starting the fire to sabotage Young-jae. But Sunwoo denies everything. Then Young-hae appears. She sneers at Billionaire, bragging that she won because she's better than Yeonju. But later, when she secretly tastes Yeonju's gimbap, her expression changes. It's really good. That night, Yeonju and Billionaire heads back happily. Billionaire suddenly blurts out that he likes her, and kisses her. Myung-suk and Chun-sung happen to see them and tease them. The next day, the teasing continues, but Yeonju demands that it was a mistake and warns them to not talk about it again. A French woman and her Korean fiancé walk into the restaurant. Billionaire greets them in perfect French. To everyone's surprise, Yeonju also understands French fluently. The couple had tried Yeonju's gimbap before and loved it. Now they want to bring their parents for a formal meeting. Yeonju hesitates, the kitchen's still not fully ready, but Billionaire convinces her to go ahead. That evening, Yeonju remembers the French woman saying her fiancé's dad only eats Korean food, but her mother dislikes it. It's been hard to find a place that pleases both sides. As she flips through her recipe notebook, Billionaire's face keeps popping up. Restless, she heads outside for some air, only to find Billionaire drunk and upset. He says he's angry she called the kiss a mistake. He tells her to go on just one date with him, then decide how she feels. Meanwhile, on a flight somewhere, a man named John Min is tasting his in-flight meal. He's not pleased as it is seasoned wrongly. He tells the stewardess that Lemure will no longer be working with them. Turns out, he's the head chef of the famous 3-star restaurant, Lemure. Back at the market, Billionaire and Yeonju are shopping for meat. They talk about how Billionaire used to be selfish and money-obsessed, but he's changed. Later, back at the restaurant, Yeonju freezes when she sees John Min standing outside. He tries to speak to her, but her face goes cold. She cries bitterly. A flashback shows them once laughing and cooking together at Lemure. That night, Myung-suk shows Billionaire an old photo and a certificate she found. It turns out Yeonju graduated from the prestigious CIA culinary school and worked at Lemure with John Min. She wasn't just some countryside cook. Inside the restaurant, John Min apologizes for choosing to stay at Lemure while Yeonju had to leave alone. But she tells him it was her choice. Then, another flashback. On the day the diamond inspectors came to review Lemure, one of them spat out a pufferfish dish. It hadn't been cleaned properly. The head chef raged and demanded to know who ruined the dish. It was John Min's fault. But Yeonju stepped forward and took the blame. In the end, she resigned to protect him. The next afternoon, the French couple returned, this time with their parents. Billionaire and Chun-sung greeted them warmly, but the tension was hard to ignore as the two sides struggled to communicate. Still, the team at Young-jae did their best to ease the situation. In the kitchen, Yeonju quietly focused on each dish. But when the first appetizer was served, the man's father didn't touch it. It wasn't traditional Korean food, and he frowned in disapproval. Everyone watched nervously. Then came the second dish, dumplings. As soon as he took a bite, his expression changed. He finished everything on the plate. When Chun-sung served his special makgeolli, the father smiled for the first time. Each dish that followed was a perfect blend of Korean and French flavors, thoughtfully created by Yeonju. By the end of the night, both families were laughing and chatting. As the night wound down, Billionaire leaned in and whispered, "Don't forget, you owe me a date." But before she could respond, John Min walked in. Yeonju gently told her team to head home first and promised she'd meet Billionaire afterward. Once alone, she made John Min a simple pasta dish, the same one they used to cook from scraps during late nights at Lemure. Sitting across from him, she said softly, "I loved working there. But what hurt me the most, was that after everything, you never called. Not even once." John Min lowered his gaze. "The head chef misses you. We can still go back, pick up where we left off." Later, Yeonju kept her promise and met Billionaire. He took her to a small rooftop for movie night. A flashback revealed he had chopped an entire sack of onions for the vegetable seller just to earn permission to use the space. Later Yeonju opens up. "I was an orphan and was raised by women in the temples. But I fell in love with cooking. That's how I ended up at Lemure, and that's where I met John Min." She then assures him that she is not leaving Young-jae. The next morning, the team found a handwritten note. Yeonju had left for Sapporo and asked them to take care of the restaurant. She is heading to Japan as her previous mentor, Chef Tatsuo, is ill. On the flight to Japan, Yeonju and John Min spoke quietly. He asked her not to mention the pufferfish incident in front of Chef Tatsuo. Back at Young-jae, the team opened Yeonju's thick manual. Every recipe, every ingredient, every step, she had written it all down. But even with her detailed guide, things didn't go smoothly. Without Yeonju, the restaurant felt lost. Meanwhile, in Seoul, Young Hae discovered Sun Woo had secretly found a replacement for her at La Lessel. Furious, she confronted him. But he coldly told her she didn't have what it takes to earn 3 Michelin stars. Young Hae then calls her team and tells them that they are heading back to Mado. Back at Youngjae, Woo got an unexpected visit from Eugene, his old assistant. Eugene lied and said he was just a neighborhood friend. But in truth, he came with a mission. Mado was reopening, and they needed Youngjae's recipes. Eugene suggested stealing them, just like before. But Woo refuses. Still, Eugene didn't give up. He tried to get close to Myung-suk, fishing for information. When he found out about Yeonju's recipe book, he plans to steal it. But Woo, sensing something was wrong, quickly hides the book away. Woo overheard Eugene on a call with Young Hae. "I'll get the recipe book soon," he said. Worried things would spiral, Woo pulled Chun Sung aside and made a plan. That evening, they invited Eugene out for drinks. As expected, Eugene got drunk, and the two friends dragged him to the garage and locked him in, just for a few days. Woo gets a call from Yeonju, but when he hears John Min's voice in the background, he immediately books a flight to Sapporo. Meanwhile in Japan, Yeonju visits Chef Tatsuo at the hospital. But the once great chef is now a shadow of himself, refusing food and throwing tantrums. Worse, he doesn't even recognize Yeonju. Shocked and heartbroken, she runs out of the room. Outside, John Min explains that Chef Tatsuo has dementia and hasn't been eating, no matter what he cooks. But, he adds, Tatsuo once loved Yeonju's food, so maybe she can be of help. They visit Le Mur together. The kitchen sparks old memories for Yeonju, some painful, some warm. John Min reveals he'll be taking over the restaurant soon, and asks her to come back and help him rebuild it. But Yeonju turns him down. He says she'd be better off at Le Mur than stuck at a rundown place like Youngjae. Their conversation is cut short when Woo suddenly storms in and snaps at John Min. Yeonju pulls Woo away. He admits he flew all the way here, because he missed her. Back in Seoul, Young Hae returns to La Lessel to pack her things. While the staff helps her, she sneaks into the office. There, she finds a file, documents showing a merger between Hansang and Le Mur. In Sapporo, Yeonju and John Min head to the market to buy ingredients for Chef Tatsuo's special dish. Just as John Min pulls out of the parking lot, Woo jumps in front of the car, demanding to join them. At the market, the duo chats about their Le Mur days, but every time the two reminisce, a jealous Woo interrupts. Suddenly, a vendor tells John Min that Chef Tatsuo had pre-ordered sea urchins, though none of his current recipes include it. Yeonju goes off alone to drink, but both men follow her. When she steps into the restroom, John Min turns to Woo and says he and Yeonju dated for 3 years, and had even planned to open a restaurant together named Youngjae. Woo's phone rings. It's Young Hae. She drops a bomb. Sun Woo already found her replacement, and it's John Min. Back at the restaurant, John Min once again begs Yeonju to return. He says the reason he stayed behind was to secure a future for both of them at Le Mur. But Yeonju looks at him, hurt. Only I waited like a fool. Just then, John Min receives a message from Sun Woo and rushes off. Later that night, Yeonju and Woo keep drinking while brainstorming what dish could bring back Chef Tatsuo's appetite. She confesses she used to deeply respect Tatsuo and begged to work under him, but everything changed after he got his first diamond star. The two go in search of food and stumble upon a tiny ramen shop. They order uni ramen, and as they chat with the chef, they learn he was once Tatsuo's friend. He tells them a story. Tatsuo once brought sea urchin to him, asking him to recreate Yeonju's uni ramen because he missed it so much. But he was unable to create the same taste. On the walk back, Yeonju remembers making uni ramen for the staff meals. Woo turns to her and says, then maybe that's the dish he's been looking for. Why don't you cook it for him? Yeonju looks at him and without a word, she kisses him. Woo breaks into a childlike smile. Back in Jeonju, Chun Sung brings food to the still locked up Eugene. But Eugene isn't playing nice. He threatens to break every bottle in the garage unless Chun Sung lets him out. Reluctantly, Chun Sung unlocks the door, but just then, Young Hae appears. Together, they trick Chun Sung and lock him inside instead. Young Hae turns to Eugene with urgency. The diamond inspectors are coming to Mado this weekend. I need those recipes. Without wasting time, they head to Youngjae to steal them. Meanwhile in Sapporo, Woo meets John Min privately. He brings up the merger between Hansang and Le Mur, accusing John Min of knowing that Hansang planned to shut Le Mur down, and still going ahead, just for the money. John Min fires back, questioning Woo's real reason for sticking around at Youngjae. The next morning, Yeon-ju prepares to cook the uni ramen. Byung-woo was supposed to help her, but he doesn't show up. Annoyed, she heads to Lemure to begin the prep herself. Midway through, Byung-woo suddenly arrives, holding out a jar of the exact Korean paste she'd been searching for, and she forgives him for not showing up. Later, Yeon-ju notices various pills in the trash. Before she can examine it, Jeon-min snatches it away, claiming they're just stress pills. Together, the trio finally completes the uni ramen and brings it to Chef Tatsuo. To everyone's surprise, he eats every last bite. Then, he calls Yeon-ju's name. Tears fill her eyes as he says sorry for not defending her during the pufferfish scandal. The long-held misunderstanding is finally resolved. Later, Jeon-min proudly announces that he'll be taking over Lemure and working with Hansang for Chef Tatsuo's future. But Yeon-ju confronts him about the pills she saw earlier. They were dementia medication. He had deliberately thrown them away to worsen Chef Tatsuo's condition, giving himself more time to finalize the deal. It was the only way, Jeon-min says. Lemure is going broke. I had to think of everyone. But Yeon-ju doesn't accept it. Then, just as Jeon-min insists it's all settled, Byung-woo calmly says, no. The deal is off. A flashback shows Byung-woo crashing a Hansang board meeting early in the morning and using his shareholder power to block the acquisition entirely. Furious, Jeon-min punches Byung-woo, and a fight breaks out. Chef Tatsuo appears and yells at them to stop. Later he pulls Jeon-min into a tight hug. I know you care about this place, he says softly. But there are better ways. Let's find one, together. Later, Jeon-min quietly apologizes to Yeon-ju. He tells her he regrets it all. She nods with a small smile. I'll remember the good times too. They part ways for good. Yeon-ju and Byung-woo heads back to Jeonju. They arrive at Young-jae and Byung-woo suddenly remembers about Eugene. He rushes to the garage, only to find Chun-sung inside instead. He races back to the restaurant and his worst nightmare came true, the recipe book is gone. At Motto, Young-hae and her team prepare dishes for the diamond inspectors, using Yeon-ju's recipes and the special paste she developed. Byung-woo rushes to Seoul to stop them but arrives too late. When he confronts Young-hae, she fires back, saying he taught her those tricks and needs to stop being selfish. He should think about everyone working at Motto. Meanwhile at Young-jae, Yeon-ju finds a note from Byung-woo saying he won't come in, he's sick. That night, Byung-woo sneaks in to return the stolen recipe book but Yeon-ju shows up. She quietly hands him a flask of porridge, showing concern, and it makes Byung-woo feel guilty. The next day, a strange customer orders food but doesn't eat it, leaving behind a red lighter. Byung-woo recognizes him as the protester from Hansang, the same man who accused Byung-woo of stealing recipes and who set Young-jae on fire as revenge. Byung-woo rushes to confront the man, but the man tells him that not one single soul cared about his plight even though he protested outside Hansung rain or shine. The man then threatens Byung-woo, saying that Young-jae probably doesn't know his real motive yet. Byung-woo then meets Chairman Han, who orders him to return to Motto and shut down Young-jae. To lift spirits, Yeon-ju takes the team on a trip to the temple where she grew up. They meet the monk who raised her like a mother. Yeon-ju shares how she fell in love with cooking because of that simple life. Later, Sun-woo gets a message from Byung-woo, saying he's done with Motto and refuses to be Hansang's successor. Then Motto receive news, they've earned 3 stars, beating La Lessel. Sun-woo feels betrayed and storms to Young-jae to confront Byung-woo. Back at Young-jae, Byung-woo confesses he learned sincerity matters more than money and that being here taught him what he truly wanted in life. Before he can confess and tell her the truth about why he came here initially, Yeon-ju stops him with a kiss. But Sun-woo bursts in, threatening to expose everything. Byung-woo admits he came to steal recipes initially, but before he can explain, Sun-woo reveals Motto's 3 stars came from Yeon-ju's dishes. Heartbroken, Yeon-ju tells Byung-woo to never come back. Back at Young-jae, Myung-suk and Chun-sung notice Yeon-ju is distant. When they ask about Byung-woo, Yeon-ju says it's just the 3 of them now. During the day, she's distracted, makes mistakes, like serving a fish with bones to a child. Pressed, she finally reveals the painful truth about Byung-woo. At Motto, Byung-woo quietly packs his things. He congratulates Young-hae and Eugene on achieving the 3 stars and even apologizes before leaving them confused. He texts Chairman Han about his resignation. She tells Sun-woo he'll now take over Motto, while La Lessel will be shut down. Elsewhere, the Frenchman who once dined at Young-jae calls Diamond headquarters. He requests one more restaurant to be awarded 3 stars in Korea. That restaurant turns out to be Young-jae. Yeon-ju closes the restaurant and returns to the temple to heal. One day, a little girl throws a tantrum, craving cake. Yeon-ju helps bake one alongside with her mother, and the child lights up with joy. That night, Yeonju confides in her monk mother stating that she feels lost. Her mother quietly tells her, her cooking has changed. She now thinks of the people eating her food, not herself. That, she says, is the heart of being a true chef. Meanwhile, Chairman Han sees the diamond announcement about Young Jae being awarded 3 stars and seizes the moment. She calls a producer to plan a televised cook-off, Young Jae vs. Motto. It's not about the food, just publicity. She later meets Woo and tells him he'll be part of it. When he refuses, she threatens to crush both Yeonju and Young Jae, reminding him he's still Hansang's heir and responsible for its future. At Young Jae, Myung Suk and Chun Sung are stunned to see a crowd waiting in line. Word spreads, Young Jae has earned 3 diamond stars. At the temple, Yeonju hears the news too from guests. Meanwhile, Woo returns to the restaurant and tries to explain. But Myung Suk and Chun Sung feel betrayed and walk away, refusing to trust him. However, the next morning, they appear at the restaurant, determined to protect Young Jae. Woo is touched by their support. Soon, the butcher and vegetable seller join them too. Back at the temple, Yeonju's mom cooks her favorite dish and gently tells her that Woo came by to check on her. She urges Yeonju to give him another chance because he truly seemed sincere. The cook-off between Young Jae and Motto begins. Judges include Chairman Han, the French diamond inspector, and popular food bloggers. The theme, a chicken dish, judged solely on taste. Young Jae's team decides on a French-style chicken with a Korean twist. But trouble hits, the market has no fresh chicken. Every shop is mysteriously out of stock. Woo suspects sabotage. Left with no choice, they settle for frozen chicken and put their faith in Myung Suk's special marinade. Quietly, Yeonju watches from a corner as her team fights to keep the dream alive. The next day, Motto opens first. Young Hae presents her version of the dish. The judges are pleased with the flavor. But after serving, Young Hae turns to Eugene and surprises him, she's quitting. She says she's tired of following orders and using recipes that aren't hers. She wants to cook from the heart. She also tells Eugene to apologize to Yeonju for everything. Meanwhile, a flashback reveals a conversation between Yeonju and Sunwoo. He tells her that their mother, Chairman Han, always put business above family. She only cared about her restaurants, not her sons. Later, Yeonju visits Motto and speaks with Eugene. He opens up about Woo's childhood, how he was often left alone, fed by his grandmother while Chairman Han was away building her empire. But the once cold-hearted Woo changed since coming to Young Jae. Back to the competition, the judges arrive at Young Jae. They taste the chicken dish. Despite the frozen meat, the balance of flavors surprises everyone. When the results come in, Chairman Han reads the card. It clearly says Young Jae wins. But she declares it a tie. The French judge, Mathieu, is furious and storms out, disappointed by her dishonesty. Woo is livid. But before things explode, Yeonju steps in. Calmly, she invites Chairman Han to taste her food before making any judgment. That night, Sunwoo meets Woo for a drink. They finally talk like brothers. Woo says they've all lived chasing something that never made them happy, and it's time they stopped. The next morning, Yeonju prepares a warm, home-cooked meal for Chairman Han and the 2 brothers. She quietly tells Chairman Han that she's not here to fight anymore. She admits defeat. At first, Chairman Han turns away from the plain meal. But when Sunwoo tells her to try the food, she takes a bite. The taste brings back a memory, a snack she used to make for them when they were little. For the first time in years, the 3 of them share a peaceful meal as a family. Afterward, Chairman Han decides to let Young Jae be and leaves with Sunwoo. In the car, she even tells him to bring her along the next time he visits their grandmother's resting place. Meanwhile, Yeonju finally forgives Woo, admitting that she likes him. As they hug, just before their kiss, Myung Suk and Chun Sung show up and start teasing them. In the days that follow, Young Hae opens a small food truck, cooking dishes she truly loves. Eugene, who also left Hansang, turns up to help her, saying he always liked her food anyway. Sunwoo visits their grandmother's columbarium, this time bringing Chairman Han with him, though part of it is still for the cameras. Elsewhere, Woo makes amends by helping the man whose recipe was stolen by Hansang open a new restaurant. Life at Young Jae returns to normal. One day, Woo steps into the garden and finds Yeonju tending to the vegetables, just like the first time they met. But now, everything is different. No more lies. No more secrets. Just love, honesty, and a future they can finally share together.